This is All About Home Construction, and here's your hosts, Terry Cannell-Beck and Randy Blake.
That's right. Good morning, Randy.
Good morning, Terry.
Happy Saturday, buddy.
Happy Saturday to you and everybody out there.
That's it.
I guess we can say around the world now.
Around the world. We've got listeners all over. We appreciate that. So thanks for listening to us. Whether you're on WATA Saturday morning or you're listening to the podcast later on, we appreciate you. And, we thank you very much. So
yes, we do.
Thanks for supporting the show. It's always fun, too. And it's just great. It's why we do it. It's why we get up on Saturday mornings and get in here and do it. So thanks again. But, hey, don't forget, if you're getting up here Saturday morning right now, there's breakfast.
Yeah, breakfast at the VFW. The Scots are back.
Yay!
So even though they're not in uniform.
They're not. That's okay. It's cold. It's cold enough. So
be a good day to go.
I like a good breakfast. So go on out to the VFW here in Boone and support the local VFW breakfasts. So glad they're getting that going again, and missed it last month.
Well, they I guess everybody's getting a little older.
Well, the winter's hard on anybody too. I think there was some bad weather a couple times, and no, it's good. It's March. It's almost springtime, right?
It's coming, but I don't think Mother Nature's through with us yet.
Oh no, of course not. Of course not. I mean, we'll still get snow here, but at some point, spring is coming. And I noticed we went off the mountain towards Charlotte last Saturday, and just the closer you got to Charlotte, the more little red buds you were starting to see pop out.
Yep.
So,
well,
it's yeah.
I just hope we don't bud out and then Mother Nature throws a big freeze in.
Well, and that seems to be the trend when it comes out early, right? Especially with the fruit trees. So
yeah, I was looking at different types of fruit trees, like peaches and stuff, and they do have warm climates in the northern area, but they do snow earlier, and there are like peaches and pears that are grow for those colder areas.
Okay,
they can withstand the frost. So
nice. I like a good fresh peach or fresh apple.
Excuse me.
So
Travis is supposed to come on and talk about his apple trees.
I'm excited about that. Yeah. So apples are fun. I grew up with apple trees next door. I literally could just about reach out my window and grab one.
Well, I've been looking at those Arkansas blacks. You can grow them like grapevines. You can string them and they'll grow.
I know of, going back home. Like I said, I grew up in Virginia there. There's tons of orchards when I was a kid, and there's still several around. But one of the orchards close to Mom and Dad's house when I go up and visit, for the last, I don't know, 5 maybe 10 years, they've had these trees. And when they put them up, I thought they were grapevines because they string them up like that. But as the trees have gotten older, they're still only 6 or 8 foot tall, but they spread out like a vine does when they're tied to that wire. So it's just really cool. It's neat to see. And supposedly they put out, size wise, put out more apples than a big tree.
Yeah,
I mean they're bred and developed to put out apples. That's the purpose. So you get a lot for the size. It's pretty cool. So,
well, technology.
Well, it's funny though. Like we think a lot about this, like GMO. We say that a lot when it comes to food, but you think about it in a lot of ways. We've been doing that since the beginning of time. I mean, corn. If you think about corn here in the North and South America, if you go back thousands of years, corn was just a little seed that grew on a piece of grass,
a weed.
Yeah, and now we've cultivated it into this corn on the cob that we think of today. So,
well, North Carolina State, is big into agriculture, and I watched PBS about their products that they do, and they're big into GMO, and they said if we don't continue to GMO, that the world will starve to death by 2050 at the growth rate that we're having it in the world.
Well, I mean, that's it. And, I mean, think about how many bushels of again, I'm just taking corn, for example, because corn seems to be in everything. But, it's you can get, 90 bushels an acre now or something like that. And to go from 50 to 90. I mean, you basically doubled your corn output in the last decade or last century.
Well, when I was in Europe, I got the heartburn a lot because everything was natural.
Right.
You know, the tomatoes. You know, since the 40s,
Right.
they've taken out 70% of the acid out of tomatoes that we grow in the United States. So, real tomatoes, it just upset my stomach.
Right.
And I'll tell you another one it did was orange juice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just that much stronger?
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's cool. Yeah, it's food, man. Food's good stuff. Good stuff. So.
Well, it's just some of it's good, some of it's not. I don't mind a GMO. There's a reason for a GMO.
Right.
But what I don't like is the additives.
Well, and that's the issue to me, right? Is, you know, what did they change in it? What did they add into it? But I think more than the actual GMO, like vegetable, grain, whatever you call it, want to look at. To me, it's more of the processing side after that, like when it's grown, in the processing before it goes into the grocery store, as you know, inside of other products. So that to me is the biggest issue. But I've read a thing, and I'm no expert on this, so someone please correct me if I'm wrong. But I was reading something that suggested that wheat, you know, like people today, a lot of people are gluten intolerant or allergic to gluten that's in wheat. And, you know, I was kind of curious, like, why 150 years ago people were growing wheat all the time. And you know, why did they have gluten intolerance? We just didn't know it. But I was reading something that suggested that gluten, because of the genetically modified wheat, that there's more gluten in wheat today than there was 150 years ago.
Could be. So now, have you noticed that, when's the last time you've been by a wheat field?
It's been a while because you don't see them around here anymore.
They got them down. Used to have them downstate, but it used to be wheat used to be 3 foot tall.
Right.
Now it's only about 18 inches tall.
Okay.
And that's so it can't blow down.
Sure.
You know, through the wind.
Because you're not worried. I mean, straw is just a byproduct. You're looking for just the grain.
To answer your question, I can only get the bushels of corn up to 2022.
Yeah.
And that year they produced an average of 177.3 bushels per acre.
170. Ooh, I thought it was like 90. That's a lot more than I thought.
And one thing that's going to happen in 2025, that ethanol now will be in the gasoline year round.
Right.
So, how many y'all run with your lights on, your gas light on all the time?
Yeah.
Well, you'll be damaging your engine because of the ethanol in the fuel.
Interesting.
So
that's not good.
And you know, one of the number one failures of cars and trucks is because there's not enough fuel in the tank. And what I mean by that is the reason they put the fuel pump in the tank is that the fuel keeps the pump cool,
right?
So it runs all the time. So as that tank goes down, that pump starts getting out of that water, out of the fuel.
Right.
But so when this happens, and I tried to explain this to my wife, is fill your car up every time and run it till the light comes on. That way you're eliminating all the water that you can in your fuel.
Mm-hmm. I just run it till it's empty all the time.
Yeah, but they'll be putting fuel pumps in. The last fuel pump I put in the truck was $500.
Oh,
that's a gas.
Yeah, that's not fun. That's fair.
And but the American chestnut I did read took a hiccup.
Oh, really? I was curious where it's been in development.
Said the USDA wasn't going to allow a total release of it, and I couldn't find out why not. So hopefully they're going to have a thing in Asheville this spring, and I hope to go to it to see what the problem is.
That's cool. I'd love to see a chestnut growing again, American chestnut.
Well, I got to touch one.
That's so cool.
And it was 6 foot across.
Wow.
But it didn't bear fruit.
That's awesome. You know, there's not many around.
But that was on the West Coast.
Right.
So somebody had hauled chestnuts all the way across. Oh, I'll tell you something I seen too. And we went to go look at a job, and the whole woods was full of black locusts.
Oh, really?
Yes. And it's on the base of Rich Mountain.
Okay.
So, and some of them were nearly 18 inches across,
Nice.
still alive. So,
And not the blight or whatever it is. It didn't get it. Hasn't hurt them yet.
must be an altitude thing, I think.
That's cool. That's cool. All about home and construction. We'll take a break. We'll come right back right after this. Are you ready to level up your home construction game? Obviously, you've subscribed to All About Home Construction. Now we would like to ask you for some support. You can be like Dave, Bill, and Skipper and help support All About Home Construction. The links are in the show notes. That's right, All About Home Construction here on WATA. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there. Don't forget about the VFW breakfast this morning. So go check them out. Say hello to them. Well, Randy, let's get into the meat of the show here. And, you know, one thing that we all have issues with, one thing that we all have, if we're in a home, is appliances.
Yes, it is.
You know, that's sort of the biggest cost in terms of projects, right? If you renovate or if you buying a new house, that is a huge chunk itself when you put all those appliances together of the cost of doing a project.
Correct. And, in 2010, you bring up Will's house. I think we bought all the appliances for his whole house. His stove, refrigerator, washer, dryer, dishwasher, everything that you would want in your home. And I think we bought it for under $2,000.
Oh, wow.
And, there's some of the products out there that have off-brands.
Right.
Okay. Like Roper was off-brand of a company. Mm-hmm. And so we bought Roper products. The warranties were better on them than the name brand.
All right. That's interesting.
And I can't remember which offshoot they were. That's a long time ago.
Right.
And but when Will sold the house 2 years ago, they'd already made it well over 10 years.
Yeah.
They made it 12 years appliances had.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is what is the life of these appliances? But yeah, that's the trade-off of the money, right? I mean,
correct. Well, it used to be durable goods was a 5-year warranty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now there's a 1-year warranty on all appliances. So, and that's what's really frustrating today is that you buy a refrigerator and you pay, let's say, $2,900 for it.
Right.
All right. 1 year later, it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And 367 days after that product is sold to you and it goes bad, you have to buy another one.
Right.
Or you have to buy a warranty, extended warranty. And I've seen it, you see these shows on TV about buy your extended warranty for your home. I was trying to find a price on it, and I couldn't locate it, but I did look at prices of like that refrigerator we're talking about.
Right.
Like certain ones were $169 for their refrigerators for a 3-year warranty, all the way up to $299 for a 5-year warranty.
Right.
Okay. And then some of the high-end stuff, their 3-year warranty started at $299,
Mm-hmm.
then went up to $400 for a 5-year warranty.
Nice. Well, Randy, we have a caller on the air. Good morning, caller. Who are we speaking with?
Oh, it's Matt Mellon. Roper is an off-brand of Whirlpool.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there really isn't any. They have different labels and all that, but inside usually it's the same parts, and it amazes me how many people throw away appliances that can be fixed.
Correct. It kind
of bothers me actually that we have that much waste. But it has been pretty frustrating in the last decade to see them go to the thinner and thinner gauges of wire and the control boards and whatnot. And
printer circuit boards, yeah.
The electronics in a lot of appliances just wear out before the rest of the appliance does, and sometimes, especially with these fancier clothes washers and dryers and things like that, sometimes they end up being, my rule of thumb is if it's going to cost more than half of the price of the appliance to fix it, then I'll replace it. But one of the things that has impacted the longevity of appliances too is the RoHS standard for soldering.
Yeah.
And they want manufacturers to use lead-free solder in their electronics now, which is lead's nasty stuff. That's an admirable goal. We don't really want to use lead, but the RoHS compliant solder that they put in that stuff tends to grow whiskers over the years, and the mean time to failure on a RoHS solder joint is something like 9 years, right? So
now, is that because it's a softer product and the heat of the printer circuit board?
Yeah, well, the RoHS solder will eventually oxidize and grow little whiskers, and when anything that grows conductive whiskers, eventually it's going to start arcing to whatever's next to it.
Yep.
Right.
And so it tends to, components tend to short out and burn out, chips on component boards and whatnot.
Do you repair appliances?
I just my own,
Okay.
I watch the same YouTube videos everybody else does. But,
my daughter watches it and still has to call a home repair man because she'll go, I did it, but it don't work.
Well, a lot of appliances, they're the pieces in them are modular, right? So you can go online and or you can call RNC Appliances here in town, and we've used them before for projects that were things that I didn't want to dig into, but were the price was right to get it fixed.
There used to be a little
there are other reputable folks around here too.
Place on 105 bypass. So you could buy the parts from him for yourself. I don't know if it's still there or not. I know the sign's there. So.
Yeah. So what's frustrating to me about appliances breaking is it always happens at the worst time. I remember a couple of years ago, I have one of those Rheem electric hot water heaters, the tankless ones.
Right.
And I've actually been through 3 of those, and they don't last forever, especially with the corrosive water we have in Boone and whatnot. So it's, and I think we've had a discussion about that before, but
right.
It died on Holy Thursday or Good Friday, and I couldn't get another one until Lowe's doesn't carry them anymore, and everybody else is closed on Saturday, and I ended up driving to Mountain City, getting in my airplane, and flying to Abingdon, Virginia, to go to a Home Depot to buy one up there because they had it in stock up there.
That's great.
But it's just appliances. They always seem to die at the most inconvenient times, and one of the problems I think that we have with this whole e-commerce based society and not really having local sources for a lot of parts anymore. A lot of times you go somewhere, a plumbing supply or hardware store or whatever, and what you need to repair something, if it's a manufacturer model specific part, now they have to order it anyway too.
Yeah, that COVID really started a lot of that mess.
The lead time for shipping and all that. If you've got 4 kids in your house and there's 12 loads of laundry to do, it's you
Yep, been there, done that.
You got that honeydew pressure to get it done.
It's a nightmare, right? And like you said, it always goes out when you're using it, obviously. And I've been there with washers and dryers, and it's like, do you have to do this? At least with a dishwasher, it's not fun.
You can do the dishes.
Yeah, you can do the dishes.
The dishwasher, you can go buy a bottle of Dawn and do the dishes.
Yeah, but the clothes, man.
There's a way to make your spouse happy there. But
I've got we've got the LG washer, and a while back, the kids were washing some stuff, and it's giving me a code. It's beeping at me, and I look up the internet, of course, and the code is like it's not draining. That was the problem. Well, come to find out, on that model in the front, there's this little filter, so you can open the little door and unscrew this little filter and clean out. It's like a trap that cleans out all the dirt and stuff. Sounds great, right? Well, guess what? Do you know how heavy a washer is full of clothes and water? It's not very easy to get it outside to drain. So,
Where's your hand truck, Terry?
oh, it was. Well, there's not enough room was a problem.
Correct.
It's like,
Well, yeah, and some of those washers, you can't just like take a hand truck and put it underneath because
there's nothing under there. Yeah, it's all
nothing under there.
Yeah, you're gonna
You
bend
just
it
gotta
all up.
Rip into a hose or break a mount or something.
Yep.
Yeah, but we have another off-brand of Whirlpool now is Cabrio,
Okay.
and we have a Cabrio washer that it started making spaceshipy noises and stuff and clinkety clunkities, and what we found out happens with it, they designed it such that the motor sits underneath the center of the. It's got, instead of having like a motor that belt drives
Mm-hmm.
the tub, the motor actually sits on the bottom of the tub
Direct
Gotcha.
drive.
and spins and whatnot. And eventually the shock mounts that hold that stuff in there wear down, and the motor actually sinks vertically in the cabinet to where we have one of those PVC sort of drain pans underneath
Right.
it in case something were to break and leak, it wouldn't just like leak out all over the floor. It's going to leak into the drain pan, and those drain pans have they're raised by about a half an inch in the center. They're not completely flat. They have like a pattern to them.
Sure, to push it out.
And yeah, eventually what happens is the shock mounts wear down, and the motor actually starts rubbing on the drain pan.
So it gets a hole in it, huh?
That's
I had to
great.
watch 20 YouTube videos to figure that out.
That's funny.
This makes sense.
And then find
But,
if it's a P or a C or a J model.
Yeah.
right. So, but the one piece of advice I would have for anybody that wants to, any DIYer like me that wants to work on their own appliances, and anytime you dig into something like that, you are taking a risk. You can always break it and get in over your head. But the most important thing is be wary on all these appliances of the very sharp sheet metal edges.
Yeah.
I be careful about making sure you wear gloves. Make sure you unplug the appliance so you don't shock yourself.
Right.
Especially if it's not a 110 appliance.
Yeah. Well, that's it, right? Like you're getting 220, and
Yeah, that 220 will kill you.
and my suggestion would be have lots of screwdrivers because everything's a different size.
Yep.
Or Torx.
Yeah.
You're gonna get the whole exterior tour part, and then you're gonna get in there and be like, "Oh, you need a T15."
Yep. Yep, exactly.
And somewhere in there, it's gonna have something metric or something Torx that you don't have, and just however long somebody says it's gonna take for you to do it yourself, multiply it by 4. Yeah. It's something always happens.
Yep. And no matter what you think, how easy it looks, or how much you think you're prepared, you're going to be mad at the end until it works.
That's the reason Randy builds houses, doesn't repair appliances.
I remember we had a dryer once that has the little lint trap up top, on the top part, and slides down. And one of the kids, I don't know if they were on purpose or what, but there was somehow a pen, like a pencil and pen, got stuck down, like fell down in there when they were cleaning out the trap. I think it was just a kid playing, but they say it fell on its own down in there. So I'm like, all right, you could hear it like it was catching the fan. It was messing it up. So I had to tore it apart, pull it out, and of course it's a dryer, and I hate dryers because I hate the dryer vents. I can never get those things to get back on. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
So I take it apart. Well, to take it apart, I have to unhook the plug-in, where it goes in the back, because I can't take the back of the dryer off without taking that off. And on this model, and it was just like such a nightmare. And then I had to get to this, I had to take 500 little screws off to get the back of the blower piece off, and it was I swear it was an hour-long process just to get a little piece of pencil or pen out of a fan. So yes.
Well, something you said there struck a chord. Everybody that hasn't had their dryer disconnected from the dryer vent in years,
oh yeah,
you really need to periodically clean that out, because lint builds up in there and it becomes a fire hazard.
Yeah,
I gotta run. Amber's waiting on me for breakfast.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in, man. We really appreciate it.
Yep.
All right. Talk to you.
Yeah. Tell everyone hello.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. So thanks for listening to us. All About Home Construction. Give us a call, 828-262-1567. We'll be right back right after this. Are you looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment you need to get the job done? Look no further than Blue Ridge Sawmills. We offer the full line of Hudson sawmills and sawmilling equipment, from portable sawmills to skidding winches. At Blue Ridge Sawmills, we understand that every project is different, which is why we offer a wide range of sawmilling services. We can help you from everything from finding the right mill for your farm, hobby, or even your business. We also offer a variety of sawmilling supplies such as blades and debarkers, so you can get everything you need in one place. If you're looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment and the service you need, then come to Blue Ridge Sawmills. We're here to help you get the job done. Call or visit our Cana, Virginia store at 276-755-3833 or our Asheboro, North Carolina location at 336-964-8304. That's right, all about home construction here on WATA. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there. Matt, thanks for giving us a call, and we like hearing from our listeners. And,
yes, we do.
He said some really good stuff there, and one of those things too that I take away from that is like, you can fix them, right? And I think that's the whole purpose of when we start talking about these warranties here in a little bit is. There is ways to fix them, but then there's that cost. Like, is it worth fixing, or do we just replace? And that's the trade-off, right?
Well, some of it gets pretty expensive.
Right.
And like you said before, all the screws that you got to take out, and then you get in there and you don't have a certain type of screw.
Yep.
And I know that I got a friend of mine that does repair on stuff, and he said sometimes printed circuit boards go $400, $500, $600. Mm-hmm.
Well, I remember one time this is back when the kids were little, the dryer, the heating element messed up on the dryer, and I took it apart. It ended up being a little chip, for what it was, a fairly simple fix. I wouldn't say easy, but simple. We put it in, did one load of clothes, and it burned out again. So there was something else going on that was causing that little switch inside to burn out. And so then I guess that's what I'm trying to say is like sometimes it's more issues than what you see and what you realize.
One thing he brought up in the conversation was making sure your dryer vents are clean.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if you don't have a clean dryer vent, one, you're overloading the dryer, so it's not as efficient,
mm-hmm. and
two, down the road you could actually have a fire.
Right, and that's the biggest risk to me is that it's such a fire. And if you've ever built a campfire or a fire in the fireplace, if you ever wanted to get a good fire starter for that, lint's a good thing.
I still use it.
Yeah,
In fact, Deb's dryer's so old that it's got a top lint on it, and she'll pull it out and hand me the lint, and I use that to start my wood stove with.
I mean, it's great stuff for that. The downside is it's great stuff for a fire,
How many out there have plastic dryer vents still?
You don't see them anymore. I mean, but they are still around, I'm sure.
And how many of y'all have flexible aluminum ones?
Like 99% of the houses you go to.
Yeah, and which you're supposed to have rigid.
Yeah.
I can't remember when that code went into effect. But I was telling Terry, we worked on a house where the dryer, from the dryer to the outside, was 20 foot.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And one thing they used is they didn't use metal. They used Schedule 40 4-inch pipe, okay?
Can you do that?
No, not legally. because I never thought about it, okay, till I watched Buck Welburn start spraying in insulation.
Mm-hmm.
And the static charge that is called from the insulation going through the plastic pipe, and you can watch it arcing inside the plastic pipe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so as your dryer's loading up with lint and stuff, and you're blowing it through that PVC pipe, you're actually creating a static charge that you never know one day might ignite on you.
It wouldn't take much, right? We just said lint's flammable.
Because watching Buck spray that insulation in, you know, we were in a crawl space where we had lights on them. Not really a crawl space. We was in a house, but we didn't have all lights installed and stuff because you know, it's rough in, and you could see that static charge going through that pipe.
Really?
And so what I was getting at is if you travel any distance at all, Amazon has a 4-inch inline dryer vent that's a booster motor that is current sensor. When you turn the dryer on, it turns on, so it don't blow all the time.
Right.
So that'll help you keep the dust and lint out of your unit.
Okay. Well, you know, one thing while we're talking about dryers is how many houses do you see, especially the older houses, that just have the vent that goes out into the crawl space and just drops basically underneath the dryer, where they don't vent it out like they're supposed to?
Oh, quite a few. Matter of fact, we worked on a house where the dryer vent came straight up into the attic and killed itself. All right. So the homeowner had black mold.
Because all that warm humidity
on the back of the plywood. And he said, I got a roof leak. And he said, or I told him, I said, no, you don't. You got a condensation problem from your dryer vent. It was like a foot away from the plywood. Right. So the day we were there, it was probably about 20 degrees. And the dryer wasn't running, but the mold itself had grew all the way up to the ridge vent.
Interesting.
Nearly, and
well, it's and that's why we don't vent it in the house, right? Like,
correct.
It's a lot of moisture. It's a lot of warm air, yes, but it's moisture. It's wet air.
And another thing getting besides the dryer is bathroom vents. You know,
yes.
A lot of people just took their bathroom vents and they just take them and lay them up in the attic, and the same thing occurs too. Yeah. You create a mold situation because of the condensation out of your bathroom when you're taking a shower.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, it's all about taking care of things, right, and doing things proper, which is easier said than done sometimes. But I mean, that's where warranties end up not working out in your favor. Is usually more times than not, it's because you didn't follow the right procedures.
Correct. And so, like we said, we talked about extended warranties. I got a list of appliances up here, Terry, and it lists what the best appliance is from each manufacturer.
Nice.
And Bosch, the only thing they rate on Bosch is a dishwasher.
Okay.
And I happen to have a Bosch dishwasher. I don't mind the dishwasher. What I do mind, it takes 3.5 hours to wash your dishes.
Yeah, I mean, I've got one that takes forever. Mine has like a short cycle, and that short cycle is an hour long.
And but that's because nobody wants noise.
Right.
And it's not, you can hardly hear it running. And that's the reason it takes so long. And but I do not like the plastic clips inside them where they fold down and stuff.
Yep.
They fall off. You take them out. And so the moral of the story is once your clips start to disappear, which I need to get online and buy some, you can't wash as many dishes.
Right.
It's good for pots and pans in.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, you know, we all grew up with the name Electrolux,
you
know, vacuum cleaners. And they have one of the best washing machines on the market, best front load washer, and best washer dryer set.
Okay.
And you get online and look at them, and they give you the number. Now let's get into American-made product. Frigidaire.
Right.
Best induction range, best fridge, best best counter depth fridge. You know, how many times you gone in a house where the guy bought a refrigerator bigger than his countertops?
Yeah.
So you can't pull a drawer out.
Yes. Or a stove that has a cabinet door right beside it. Same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best French door fridge. Now, I like a French door fridge. I like some of these. French door to me is a better one because it holds just as much junk as one of the bottom freezers do.
There you go.
GE, best gas range, best induction range, best top loader washer, best portable dishwasher. The only problem I have with GE now is GE got bought by China.
Right.
And that was a pretty interesting story there. And they were trying to get into GE's airplane division on their jet engines for their airplanes. Haier, I don't know how to say it. H-A-I-E-R.
The higher hair, yeah.
They have the best French door refrigerator for under $1,500.
Okay. Good to know. Well, as we look at appliances, like the national average appliances, you can get sort of the cheaper basic one refrigerators for $200 to $600, but a good refrigerator average price is going to be anywhere from $600 to $2,300. And then of course there's some that's $5,000. But refrigerators, you really, if you want to get a good refrigerator, you got to plan on sinking $600+ into it. And I think that's where that's to me is always the issue, is like, I can buy this really cheap one, but how long is it going to last? And I have my brother, for instance, we're talking about dishwashers. My brother, there's something going on in his house that he goes through dishwashers like crazy, and he's actually upgraded and started getting the warranties. And he's replaced his dishwasher 3 different times in the last 15 years that they've had the house. And so that to me is where you come back. Like, what is it that's causing it? But is it worth buying a new one or worth fixing?
I wonder if their chemicals are too strong. Because what it was explained to me is that if you use too strong don't use the right chemicals in it, then it will eat the plastic washers out.
Makes sense.
And because I was going to save one for cleaning parts. I know y'all laugh about this, but dishwashing detergent is a no foaming detergent.
Right.
So I break my guns down and wash them in the dishwasher.
Yeah, okay.
Because they don't rust when they come out.
Sure.
And it cleans all the grease off of them.
Interesting. Well, we've all got kids. I'm sure I'm not alone when I say I've had a kid who decided, we're out of dishwasher detergent, so they're going to put regular soap in there, regular dish detergent in there.
Well, you can, but you can't put much in.
It's great to see a bubble bath in your kitchen floor. Thanks for listening to us. Obviously, by listening to this podcast, you see the value of All About Home Construction. Well, by joining our listener supporter community, you're not just tuning in, you're standing with us as we are able to support and fuel our passions of the construction industry. As a listener supporter, you'll enjoy exclusive perks, including hearing your name, or maybe even your business name, on our show. So please go to our Spotify website. The link will be in the show notes, and join. You can join for as little as $1 one-time fee, $1 a month, $5 a month, whatever you think you can afford. Every single penny helps to keep this show going as we can continue to grow and do lots more things. Thanks a lot. And again, more importantly, thank you for listening to this. That's right. All About Home Construction here in WATA. And again, thanks to all of our callers out there, all of our listeners. Give us a call, 828-262-1567. Randy, the VFW breakfast going on right now until 11 o'clock here in Boone. So go check it out. Good breakfast. We love a good breakfast around here. So go by and get a good breakfast.
If you go to Best Buy right now, they have an 18 cubic foot top freezer, just like we grew up with, $4.99. I ain't seen one that cheap in a long time.
That's interesting. Well,
for the man cave.
Ooh, here's the thing though. With appliances, we're starting to see a lot more of these specialty, if you will, appliances. Like you can now get ice makers that sit on your countertop so you can have extra ice, or you can see, beer fridges or wine coolers, things like that. It's just because things are cheaper to make than they were, a decade or more ago. You're starting to see more of those things pop out, and it's some of them are cool.
Technology.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, what I did is my ice maker went out on my machine, on my refrigerator, and for the cost of the ice maker, the labor to put it in, I bought a little Vever ice machine for like $329. It makes 25 pounds a day.
Right.
And now it's I have to walk down to my basement to get the ice.
Sure.
But the point of it is, and when it fills up with ice and it stays full for so long, it automatically shuts down, which the ice is going to melt.
Right.
But the point of it is, it's not wasting energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the VFW had a $2,500 ice machine that went out that we, paid. They paid
Right.
for. I didn't pay for, and so we replaced it with a little Vever that does 55 pounds in 24 hours.
Yeah.
And it's only 18 inches wide, and it fits under a counter.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you're starting to see those a lot more. And then, like I said, I mean, just appliances in general coming down. Air fryer's a big thing now. I mean, I know those are not like the appliances we think of, but, dishwashers and things like that. But there's, I guess my point is there's alternatives that are coming out to help kind of bridge that gap of purchasing new and fixing old.
Correct.
So
one of the recommendations was made to me when you buy like washers and dryers, buy the washer and dryer with the knobs still on them.
Yeah, I mean, but where do you find them? Like, more and more though, they're all going electric.
They are, but they're still out there.
And especially these front load washers where I've known of a couple and one of mine at one point, like the door, even though it shuts, it's not quite like, I guess, tight enough, if you will. Like it doesn't lock. And if you ever turn, if you got a front loading washer, you press the button, there's a little lock, and you can hear that little click lock in place.
You know what? You make me laugh at that because when I was out at Adam's house in Oklahoma City, he had a ratchet strap around his where it fell off a truck.
Oh, no.
Well, they dropped it, so he takes a ratchet strap and tightens it up.
There you go. Well, mine, I had to push the door in, and then it would lock. Like if I gave it a little push while it was kicking in, it would lock and be fine. But I've seen them where like you get, they drip water from the front because it doesn't close all the way. But and here's my thing is. I feel like there should be a standard. Dryers on one side, washers on the other side. Because what happens is the doors always don't match up.
That's right.
I think washers need to be on the right side. Dryers need to be on the left side. That way, if you got front-loading washer and your front-loading dryers, when the doors open, they can open in opposite so you can pull them out of one, put it in the other, and not have to hit a door.
Well, Whirlpool still makes a dial. GE, Maytag still makes a dial. Hot Point does. I ain't seen a Hot Point in a long time.
Yep.
So now those are still manual washing machines with timers and stuff on them, and those are the easiest to repair out all of them.
Nice. Well, fun stuff, man. It's appliances. We all need them. We all use them.
Yep.
So.
And let's just hope they last a lot longer than they were. I'd rather go ahead and buy a cheap one like that. Samsung even makes a dial.
Nice.
And they're anywhere from 4.5 cubic feet to 4.8 cubic feet.
Well, to me, the trick is making sure you install them properly, like we talked about ventings and things like that. But make sure that what you've got is the power you need, and as a general rule with all appliances, right?
That's it. I was telling you the story of the washer and dryer combo. Mm-hmm. No, I'm not talking about two separate units. I'm talking about one unit that washes it and dries it, and they were overloading it, and it wouldn't run. Right,
and it happens, right? Dishwashers when you wash too many dishes at once, kind of thing. So, Not saying bigger's better, but get what you need for your situation. So. Well, thanks for listening to us. Go to the VFW, get some breakfast, and we'll talk to you next time. Take it easy, Randy.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the podcast edition of All About Home Construction. We want to thank Skipper, Dave, and Bill for supporting the show. If you're enjoying this episode and you want to help us by creating some more awesome content, there are a few ways you can show your support. Subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. This actually helps us reach new listeners and climb the charts. And please share this episode with your friends and family. Word of mouth is always the best kind of advertising. You can support us directly through our page on Spotify. The links are in the show notes. Thanks for listening to us.